to today's edition
Ade,
of
I
Global
see
Chat on
Sophia
African
on today's
Smartans.
edition of
It's a huge honor to have
Global Chat,
one here,
African
and
Smartans. And
let's go straight
let's go
into
straight
today's
into today's
business.
business.
Um, so today,
Um,
as
so
already
today,
seen, we'll be
as
talking
already
about the
seen,
future
we'll
of
be talking about the
education in
future of
Africa, and we
education
know
in
how
Africa,
pertinent
and we
this
know how
issue is
pertinent this
to each
issue
and every
is
of us. I
to
mean,
each
we
and
all came
every of
from
us. I mean, we all came
a
from
schooling system that is
schooling
already
system that is already
very questionable.
very
You know what that
questionable. You
means,
know what that
and
means, and
this is what we do here in
this
Global
is what
Chat
we do
African
here in Global Chat
Smartans. We
African
talk about
Smartans.
issues
We
that
talk about
concern
issues
us,
that
especially
concern
from our
us,
own
especially from our
perspectives,
own perspectives as young
and
people,
how
and
it's
how it's
tailored to
tailored to
us, and we
us. And we
know
know
what the
what the
system is
system
that we went
is that we
through.
went
And I
through.
think that's the
And
discussion
I
we're going to
think
be
that's the
having
discussion we're
today.
going to be having
So
today.
welcome everyone
So,
once
welcome
again
everyone
to
once
this
again
meeting.
to
It's a
this
huge honor
meeting.
to have
It's a huge
everyone
honor
here
to have
once
everyone
again.
here
So
once
thank you
again.
very
So,
much.
thank you very
Please
much.
give yourselves a
Please give
round of
yourselves a round of
applause.
applause.
So for those who are joining,
Um,
just before
so for
we go into the
those who are
business of
joining,
today,
I don't know,
how
just
about we
before we
hear one or
go
two
into the
persons
business of
introduce
today, how about
themselves
we hear one or
while
two
and
persons
before we
introduce
start the meeting?
themselves
One or
while
two, three people introduce yourself. Tell us what one fun thing about
before we
to
kickstart the
start, please.
meeting? One or two, three people introduce yourself.
If you want
Tell
to
us what
speak, just raise your hand so I
thing
can unmute you.
can be, and then we start this.
Anybody? I'll be glad to welcome your introductions. Please go ahead.
Anybody?
All right, I see Sophia. She's still on mute. Yeah. All right, I see Sophia.
All right, I see Sophia. Um,
Sophia, you can go ahead
yeah,
and
Sophia, you can go ahead and speak.
yeah, you can go ahead to speak.
Yeah, you can go ahead to speak. Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. I do hope I'm being heard clearly. My name actually is Savior, but I'm joining with someone else's
Yeah, I thought as
device.
much. I
So
mean,
my name is my name is Savior Iwezwe, and I'm glad to be here. I'm an environmentalist and founder of Team Eliminate. Thank you very much.
all right, thank you very much, Savior.
It's a
It's
honor
a
to
honor
have
to
you
have you
here. Thank you very
here.
much. Please
Thank you
give a
very much.
round
Please
of
give a
applause.
round of applause.
We have
We have
Savior, who is one of
Savior, who is
Nigeria's finest teenage founders.
one of
It's an honor to have you. Anybody else wants
Nigeria's
to introduce themselves? Please go
finest
ahead. I see Eunice. Okay,
teenage
Eunice is clapping.
founders.
So
It's
anybody else wants to introduce
an
themselves?
honor to have you here.
Just
Anybody
one more person and then we start.
else? Yes. All right. So anybody else introduce themselves?
Okay, so since I don't have any other
Okay. Since I don't
so
have any
let's
other
go
hand
straight
raised,
into the business
okay,
of
so let's
today.
go straight into the
Um,
business of today.
so like I said earlier, we're
Um,
going to be discussing the future of
so, like I said
education
earlier, we're going to be
in
discussing the future of
Africa,
education
and
in Africa,
is
and
I think it's important that we talk about this
is
as
I think it's important that we
it's
talk about
one
this because it's one discussion that is home to each and every of
that
us. We all
system,
came
and we
from that
let's go back
system,
to
and
history. You know, education
let's
in
go
the
back to history.
1800s had
Education in
nothing at
the
all to do with schooling. We
1800s
know that
had
it was a
nothing
pure
at all to
massive
do with
hunt for knowledge
for
as a
knowledge
tool for
as
global
a tool for
competitiveness,
global
from arts
competitiveness,
to science to
from
engineering to technology.
arts
We
to
understood that
science
these
to
were the building
engineering to
blocks for the new
technology.
world order.
We understood
And
that
those
these
who
were the
were
building
world power like
blocks for the new
America,
world order.
the,
And those who were
Britain,
world power
United
like
Kingdom,
America,
and all of those
the,
nations who were world power, they
Britain,
already
United
understood this from
Kingdom,
that time.
and all of those
And
nations who were world power, they already
any
understood
country
this
who
from
misses
that
that
time. Any
would not be
country
able to
who
craft a
misses that
compelling future for its people.
would not be able to
So
craft a compelling future
now, as Africa stands, we know that
for its people.
crossroads of
people
technological
understand
advancement
this is at the
and
cross technological advancement
there's an
and
imperative to prepare
conservation.
our
And so
youth
there's
for the
an
dynamic global
imperative
markets, and this is very paramount. And so that's why we're having this
to prepare
today on how, you know,
our youth
firstly address all of these issues, especially dealing with education as our
for the
foundation.
dynamic we can obviously see on. Now,
Um, UNESCO drops this
UNESCO drops this
bomb
bomb
that about 89
that
million
about
children,
89 million
89 million
children,
children in sub-Saharan
89
Africa may miss out of
million
basic education by 2030, and
children
very
in
saddening
sub-Saharan
statistic.
a
Considering
very
that
saddening statistic,
there is already
considering
a
that
huge lacuna,
there is
there's
already a
already a huge
huge
lacuna
lacuna.
in our education system.
There's
I
already a
mean,
huge lacuna in our
we already have
education
an
system.
education
I mean,
system that is
we
sorry.
already have an education system.
So
So
we have already a
we
system that is
have
already
already
crippled,
a system that
and
is already
it already
crippled
thrives on
and it
outdated
already thrives
curriculum.
on
And so we do
outdated
not even want to delve into the
curriculum. And so
plethora
we
of
do not even want to
opportunities that are
delve
available when we
into
tap
the
into the minds of all
plethora of
of these children
opportunities
with
that are
notable
available when we tap
attention
into the
to
minds of all of
the
these
89
children
million
with
of them.
notable attention
And
to the
this
89
just
million of
represents
them.
the latent
And
incompetence, the
this just
flaws,
represents
the
the latent
mismatch, the appalling
incompetence, the
concerns, and
flaws, the
everything
mismatch, the
else.
appalling
So,
concerns, and everything else.
here in major parts
So,
of Africa, we have this
here in major parts of
definition of
Africa,
schooling that
we have
produces
this
up to
definition of
students. And when I mean
schooling
up
that
to students, I
produces
mean
obtuse students. And when I mean
people
obtuse students, I
who do
mean
not have the capacity
people
to think,
who do not have the capacity to think,
unfortunately. And that's the system we
unfortunately.
run, where
And that's the
we don't
system we
have
run,
we
where,
produce students that cannot think for
we don't have
themselves,
we
and
produce students that
it's very
cannot
very
think for
bad.
themselves. And
So
it's very, very bad.
not only do we have an
So,
education system that thrives on outdated curriculum, we also have an education
curriculum.
system
We
that
also have an
produces
education system that
very
produces
unfortunately
very
students. I don't want to say that, but that's what we use. People who have eliminated their capacity for thought. It's almost like when you get
I don't want to say that, but that's what we thought. It's
probably
almost like
have
when you get to school, for those of us who
had
probably
books like you know like when you get to school, when you get to that gate,
had when you get to that gate,
please
seem to
down
like
and then some that part of you that thinks for yourself, you just sucks it out because you're working into a system
self, it just sucks it
like
out
linear
because you're
method.
working into a system that
And
thrives on
like
the linear method of thinking.
instead says
And
education is
like
purely the
instead
capacity
that
for
says
thought.
education
Functioning already
is purely the capacity for thought. So functioning already in a system that eliminates that capacity to think, that runs on just la cram, la pour, la forget, which is a very popular term. We have successfully obliterated the capacity of a child to think. And the regrettable part is that we refuse to accept the damage we have done to these kids or learning the linear way. But then there's so much damage we do to these children by not allowing them to think. And unfortunately, that's what we do. If you look at the cardiogram, um, I don't want to ask how many of us have been in the hospital, but there are obviously people that have been in the hospital here. Patient. And if you look at that device well enough, you see that it goes up, down. There's so much bits up and down. All right. One way to know that somebody is alive is the many ups and downs displayed on that device. But then if it all goes straight, that's one straight line. It means that the person is dead. And consciously, consciously, these kids um, education to meet global standards. So Favor, Favor will join us on this call, and then Favor, talk to us about how the African Union Agenda 2063 aims to revitalize education, especially since it's tailored to the African continent. What is goes to ensure that all of these things are fixed, especially knowing that education is fix all of things, produce them that enables us to think.
Okay, thank you very much. Um, so the African Union Agenda 2063 is an organization that gears towards economic growth and improvement for all of the countries in Africa. And they have major goals or plans for a set period of 50 years. And this plan started in 2013, and we're currently in year 2023. So they've been able to cover up 10 years, remaining 40 years. And aside targeting or fixing problems in the education system, they also have other goals, which is to transform Africa as the global powerhouse for the future and to reposition Africa to become a dominant player in the global arena. But one major goal, how they intend to revitalize education in Africa, is to improve its relevance and its training system. And they so much understand the power of partnership and collaboration. That is why they go through initiatives like CESAR, being science, technology, engineering, and mathematics initiative. They go through these channels to be able to train teachers, train teachers because the means by getting through to the students is through the teachers. That is why they employ government trained teachers and they deploy them to both private and public schools. And another means the African Union Agenda 2063 intends to revitalize education in Africa is through skills development. They understand the power of technology in our modern age and how it's playing a vital role in shaping our future. That is why they intend giving vocational trainings to students to build skills, tech skills, vocational skills, basically to prepare them for the future. And another vital point is youth empowerment. There are so many trainings for students that are dropouts that are not able to further their education. They empower them and give them funds. They have fundraisers of basically they help students like that raise funds. They empower them to go to learn skills and and basically to prepare them for the future. That is the way the African Union agenda intends to revitalize education in Africa. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Favor. That was a very robust conversation you had about how the African Union Agenda 2063 aims to revitalize education. And I think it's necessary to note that there are, you know, organizations like this and agendas that tend to understand for it to access and make overhaul of the whole system. Let's look at the dynamics, the things that in play. Technology is a huge part, technology is hard to use. And Africa, where internet users are projected to reach 705 million by 2025. What role technology can play in the globalization system? Yes, Gideon, play in shaping a globalized education system, knowing that there's so much that we have on internet space. Yeah. Today is like a notion of information where every molecule of water is like data, is representing data. And there's even a stat, according to stats that says an average person generates 1.7 megabytes of data per second. Can you imagine how much data that will be in a day? The interesting thing about all of this is that Africa is the fastest growing place in terms of internet user, with an estimation of 525 million users in 2022. And even with this, Africa still has the lowest datafication index, which is 0.5. And this is really aggravating. And honestly, we Africans really need to pay a lot of attention to this. Now, let's leave data aside now. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has really been growing in different sectors and different fields. I mean, the stats according to International Data Corporation says that 5% of businesses have adopted AI. I mean, almost all companies now using AI generated solutions, and it has been really performing well in different sectors, advancing their sectors. And with the fact that Africa has a high number of internet users, and um, Africa still has a phone mobile connection of about 747 million mobile phones in Africa. And each of these phones has, in one way or the other, one form of AI feature in them. But even with all of this, Africa still has the lowest AI adoption rates among all the continents, with about just 24% of enterprises currently using AI solutions in 2022. AI, influencing AI in different sectors is one way to augment solutions provided by humans. But we Africans are not even saying that yet. You're not adopting that solution yet. Oh, look at VR and AR as virtual reality and augmented reality. Imagine a class where you have students. Let's say there's a teacher teaching about geography and he's teaching about mountains, and yeah, you have each student wearing the goggles and being present in front of the mountain and saying everything the teacher is describing, saying the lavas and everything. It's going to be a really memorable experience for each student. I mean, no students will be forgetting that at all. And it's like a life field, like they were at the mountain already. And will make education really faster and increase productivity. So if you take technology in education system, I think Africa should start considering that, and even artificial intelligence. I mean, all of the phone connections we have here, and the fact that we import about we have 747 million phone penetration in Africa. We really need to start considering all of these technological trends. All right, thank you very much. Vivian. Iwa, you mentioned something about education, and I'd like to see education from a perspective. What role do you think that education plays, especially on the African continent? How do you see education, knowing that you're a lover of chess, obviously? So how do you see education and its prominence, especially in the African continent?
Okay, thank you very much. In my own perspective, as a chess player, for those of us who are familiar with game of chess, let's take a journey down the chessboard. So, as you can see, education is like a roof, a pillar for all the sectors in Africa. Because without education, the thing will not be in a safety. So, education is the sector that is protecting all the sectors in Africa. So, who one that is giving king to safety, protecting king to safety. So as you can see like this, phone is the technology and infrastructure is the night. So we are almost based on infrastructure in Africa. If you go to a lot of places, they will say that infrastructure, but we have not enhanced in the main sectors, which is education, which is the education. So in my own perspective, education is the protector of all the sectors in Africa, while Africa will harden. So education is the root, move in straight line, and telecommunication involve the transmission of signal in a direct manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Levi. I love that you came from that perspective, and you know all of the things that is very, very important, especially yes, in the world of chess and how education functions in that perspective. Now, I know that education basically is like our base, our foundation, and if we want to fix education, that means if we want to fix other areas, that means education has to be fixed properly. We have to attack the root. All right. So obviously, if you're able to have an education whose curriculum incorporates all of the things that are necessary for the shifting job market, for the shifting global market, it means that you already have students or people who are prepared to take over the job market, and they are ready for the job market, obviously. So knowing that is in mind, how it's very impressive to note that the Nigerian tech sector is expected to create at least over 2 million jobs by 2030. So, Stephanie, how do you think maybe initiatives like the 3MTT project can contribute to placing Nigeria at the center of the global tech ecosystem, knowing that, I mean, there are jobs that need to be created, and all of these jobs are the technology for the future. So, what do you think initiatives like 3MTT project can contribute to placing Nigeria at that spot?
Okay, thank you. The 3 Million Tech Talent Program, that is the 3MTC project, is an initiative by the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. Now, the primary aim of the program is to fortify Nigeria's technical talent base, propelling the digital economy and positioning Nigeria as a substantial exporter of tech talent. Now, the program ambitiously targets the training and placement of 3 million Nigerians in tech related jobs, such as software development, UI UX design, cybersecurity, project management, and many more by 2030. And according to the stats, there is a report by the PwC that the Nigerian tech sector is expected to create over 2 million jobs by 2030. And with the 3MTT projects in place, they are able to fulfill that agenda and project of creating over 2 million jobs by 2030. In fact, the 3MTT are aiming at 3 million jobs or 3 million tech talents, as they would say. So, with that, the program's emphasis on practical skills and hands-on training ensures that graduates are equipped with the competencies required to thrive in the ever-evolving tech industry.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I like the area you came from about the 3MTT. I don't know if anybody else here would like to say something, probably Savior or Eunice. Is there anything you'd like to say, maybe in contribution to all of the things that have been said thus far? Savior, Eunice, Faith, Ade, Fatima. Is there anything specifically you'd like to say to contribute to all of this that has been said so far?
I think so far discussions have been very insightful into the level at which we're playing in education in Africa. How that we can actually see some steps being taken, for instance, through the 3 entity pool, right, to make up for through tech, right?
I think probably Sophia is having, sorry, Savior is probably having issues with network. I don't know. Or maybe it's, um, Savior, can you still speak? Can you still say something? Savior, are you there? Please confirm that you can hear. Oh, I think she has probably left. Please, if you can still speak, Savior, please go ahead.